What do you consider is the biggest threat that is facing us at the moment that we must address urgently?
I think the biggest threat that we are witnessing right now is, I'm sure, the loss of trust in our democratic institutions. You know, we are living on a continent known for strong values. I mean, democracy is a reality on the continent. Democracy and the rule of law and a strong protection for the human rights. And this is at stake at the moment. I mean, this is the question that we have, and it is backsliding. It is no question about this. It is backsliding everywhere on the continent, and we need to address the causes explaining this, and also to know that it will be no journey back to the 90s. I mean, the conditions have changed. You mentioned the technological changes. We can mention artificial intelligence. We can mention disinformation. We can mention all the strong difficult culture of debate, polarization of the societies, and all this creates like new conditions, and we need to adapt if we want to have positive development for democratic institutions and for democratic life. And that's exactly what we want to do with the Council of Europe. I mean, we need to address this. That's exactly why I launched this idea to have a new democratic pact for Europe, because it is our DNA. Yes. I mean, and we need to engage, and we need to be strong for those values.
You know, it's so interesting hearing you speak like that. You're from a country which many consider as, one of the best, most democratic. They've got it together as far as existing goes. But the way that you're talking about these problems, it echoes what I hear from people in Albania every day. We've just had elections. People don't trust the results. They don't trust that the institutions work. They don't trust the police. They don't believe their vote matters. The media is manipulating, what can be done with AI in terms of videos, photos, audio. It's terrifying,
It is.
So you're coming from this developed part of Europe, and you're saying exactly the same thing that we're hearing on the street here.
We all have different histories and different past, and we build on this past, and we must change what we want to change, and we need to protect what we need and we want to protect. And now, when I was telling you before that democracy is backsliding everywhere, it is a fact. Even in my country of origin, we see also there that this polarization of the debate is stronger than before, that we have the new challenge with AI, with the social media, with
Everyone's
the evolution of the traditional media, the protection of journalists. We see this everywhere, and that's why we are strongly concerned about this. You just mentioned the elections. It's clear that there is no democracy without free and fair elections. That's clear. And it's exactly also why we need to have observations.
Yes.
Other partners, organizations coming and observing what's happening, and then making some reports about the election.
It's a shame that has to happen, though, isn't it?
No, it was always the case. I mean, it is also part of a normal development of democracy. But then there is no democracy if there is no acceptation of the result. I mean, if there are free and fair elections. And we see also that now, this capacity that we have also to accept some frustration. I see this also in my experience as a citizen. As I voted in my country, I lost votes several times. And if you lost votes, you need to accept the result.
Be humble.
I mean, you need to be able to deal also with this kind of frustration. But on the other side, there is also a huge responsibility for those who won, to integrate those who lost also in the whole organization of society in any way. I mean, democracy is exactly this. It is to accept that we decide together, and we will be not always 100% okay with the result. It's part of the game, and we need to preserve this, to have good conditions for this, and saying this not being naive. It is clear that when we have disinformation, when we have manipulation, when we have all those bad things, then we need also to act, clearly.
Do you think there's any threat more specific to Albania and the Western Balkans, that maybe is not so strong in the rest of Europe?
The Western Balkans is, for the Council of Europe, a very important region. That's why I've been a lot of times in different countries of the region recently. It is a fascinating region, I mean, I know also the history, just think about
That's what makes it
the last
fascinating.
30, 40 years. What does it mean, for Albania coming from, fully
Nothing.
other situation
Yeah.
and to this strong country right now on the path to the accession to the
Yes,
EU,
yeah.
you know what I
Hosting
mean?
big summits.
Also with other countries, we see also all the challenges that we have in Bosnia and Herzegovina,
Yes.
for example. We are also strongly concerned what's happening there and other countries. I mean, it is not only fascinating, but it is the very heart of the European continent. It is really important. We must be able together
Yes.
to define the way we want to have for the population, for the people, because we must never forget, why are we doing this? We are not doing this for ourselves or for institutions or for organizations. We are doing this only for the people, for the population, to have good perspectives for the future and to have good possibilities to have positive development for the people. That's exactly what we need. And if we are not able to deliver on this point, then we will have mistrust on democracy.
Yes.
That's really, I see a link, a very strong and important link here. And then we have the tools. We have the tools, we have the experience, we have the expertise, and the Council of Europe is one of those organizations able to do this. And it's exactly what we need to do now. And it is now. That's also the point.
When we talk about Albania, as I said, we've just had elections, so this topic is really important. Are there any conversations that you think the Council of Europe needs to have with Albania about reforms to do with the election, about how the election was held, about things they need to do better next time? Any concerns that there might be?
About the elections, as I told you before, I mean, there is always observation. It was also the case here, and it is not to me to have an impression on elections. We need to have facts.
Yeah.
We need to have facts, to have assessment about the election, and we will see like in all the countries. We have observation missions from different bodies in all countries. It's always a good thing, and we will see what happens. But then now for the specific case of Albania, and really an important country for the Council of Europe with very strong relations with the Council of Europe, it is important to continue on that path on reforms.
Yes.
We have an office here. This is an important office that we have in Tirana with projects and an action plan and projects for all the country. And the goal is here to implement together some projects, to address issues, to address to fight against corruption, to improve also the functionment of the justice, all those elements where we always need to work together. We do this in all countries, by the way, and it is particularly important for Albania now because of this evolution for the EU accession. There is no possibility to see an EU accession without a strong implementation of all the reform projects with the Council of Europe, and it's exactly what we are doing now.
That's actually what I was going to ask, about... in the report, it said Albania's made progress, it's prosecuted officials, it's made progress on corruption, but there were challenges persisting. But I guess you've just said, some of that relates to the justice reform and sort of staying on top of corruption, things like this.
It is a never-ending task, in all countries, by the way.
Yes.
It is a never-ending task. We need to address these elements, to have more transparency, to see where, and to be able and to be open to address challenges and issues when we know that there is a difficulty. There is the case everywhere. We are living societies. It is normal between, that between institutions, people, we have things going very well, other going not that well, and then just being aware on this, we need to address this, maybe to make a reform, maybe to have some progress here. Why? Because at the end, what we want to have is previsibility, predictability, and stability.
Of course.
And because only with this predictability and stability, we will have good conditions for a booming economy, for a good, positive development for the economic development, and also good and positive perspectives for the people. It's exactly what we need to address, and then I mean, with our work, with what we are doing together, it must be possible to have good development in this direction.
Now, there was another topic in the report that I was interested in discussing, and that's to do with money laundering, because the Council of Europe's report on money laundering always makes the news here, and obviously this is something the EU's picked up on as well. The authorities have improved, there has been work to enhance the measures against money laundering, but I'm wondering, what challenges do you see it still facing, and what needs to be done to sort of speed things up in that respect?
What I see in general, it is that it is important not only to address challenges that we note in a country and in the region on the legal level, and to have some reforms. We need also to make always sure that there will be a real implementation of all the reforms.
Yeah, this is the key bit.
That's the key point. But the first, you need the three steps. The first step is to recognize, to see that there is a point to address.
Yes.
Then it's to address the point and to make all the legal changes that you need to have a good situation. And then it's to make sure that it is working. That the implementation will be fully made. It will be fully implemented, and it is never a linear path. You need always to have discussions to say, but please look here, maybe we could also do in this way, to be creative also, and to try to address this and to make steps together. And it's exactly why we are here. I mean, Council of Europe with this office, a strong office, by the way, in Tirana. It's exactly to do this with the strong support also of the headquarters in Strasbourg. And we are following, Albania really closely, because it is for us a very interesting, evolution. As I mentioned before, incredible achievements in 30 years. I mean, if you just have a look in the last 30 years, and this path in the direction of the EU accession. And this is an important element, and we are here at the side of the country, of the people, institutions, to make these steps happen.
I know the authorities generally quite receptive. I mean, I'm not sure if you're sort of on the phone to them all the time saying, you need to do this, can you do that? But, I know from my experience covering the Council of Europe for nearly 2 decades that some member states are not that receptive to criticism or feedback or requests sometimes. So I'm wondering where Albania is on that scale.
I would say with Albania, it's functioning very well. I was present personally 2 months ago. I had very good and positive discussions. I had, by the way, also a long bilateral meeting, tete-a-tete, with the Prime Minister at Tirana. I mean, it's going really well. And also the technical level, we have those contacts, and it's going well.
Good.
What we need to see, it is that the Council of Europe is made from 46 member states. And we have really a huge diversity of context, history, past, and I mean, we need to work with this. It is not good to see the Council of Europe as a homogeneous, how to say this in English, the homogeneous region. We need to accept this diversity, but at the same time to see that we have shared values.
Yes.
And we need to protect those shared values, democracy, rule of law, and the human rights. And we must implement this in different contexts. I think, and I'm strongly convinced, that the best way to do this is to have a stronger leverage for the Council of Europe.